Hollywood elites are sticking their noses where they don't belong yet again, and this time they want a full stop to the Coastal GasLink pipeline. The 670-kilometer pipeline project, which is 60% complete, will carry natural gas from northern BC to Kitimat, where an LNG facility will prepare it for export. Coastal GasLink has had one of the most robust consultation processes and has engaged with more than 30 First Nation and Métis groups. 16 of those First Nation groups are equity owners in the project and have natural gas benefit agreements in place. 20 First Nations groups have a 10% stake, $1 billion in employment and contract opportunities, which will offer training, trades, careers, education, and funding for community initiatives. But the Coastal GasLink pipeline has been one of the most controversial projects we've seen in Canada. You see, the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs are vehemently against this, but keep in mind, hereditary is not elected. Celebrity Mark Ruffalo as the voice of the latest anti-Canadian energy campaign, No More Dirty Banks. Now, their goal is to see the Coastal GasLink project killed by putting pressure on the Royal Bank of Canada to stop their more than $160 billion of investments in energy projects. You can view this Hollywood hypocrisy at nomoredirtybanks.com, and I went through the entire website with a fine-tooth comb. I tried my best to keep an open mind, but that proved to be so incredibly difficult. So let's get into it. Right in the heading, they state that RBC is financing violations of Indigenous rights and demand all support for Coastal GasLink be withdrawn immediately. Heading to the Take Action section, there's a pre-written email you can send to RBC demanding they, and I quote, uphold, affirm, and respect the rights of Indigenous peoples, completely dismissing the First Nation communities that are stakeholders in the project. More Dirty Banks also wants a full stop to extreme fossil fuel expansion projects, specifically fracking and tar sands. Now, the second I see the term tar sands, which is a derogatory term, I think it's safe to say that this group of Hollywood hypocrites are so ignorant to Canadian energy, it's laughable. Especially since this is a natural gas project, not a crude oil project. Before Ruffalo really hulks out, he should know that there is a big difference, and a simple Google search would have cleared that up for him. All 50-plus celebrities like Robert Downey Jr., Jane Fonda, Edward Norton, Julianne Moore, Michelle Pfeiffer, Joaquin Phoenix, and Leonardo DiCaprio should also fire up their Google machines and do a little research into this. The benefits of natural gas and Canada's human rights and environmental standards when it comes to energy exploration. In this day and age, ignorance is not an excuse, but apparently stupidity is. Canada is sitting on 1.4 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, which has been reclassified as clean energy by the European Union. Canadian energy could completely displace Russian, Venezuelan, and Saudi energy globally. The 20 First Nation communities who have a stake in this project have every right to the economic self-determination projects like this offer. Now, the hypocritical Hulk claims that RBC is fueling the conflict between Coastal GasLink and the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs directly, where he claims they have faced, quote, multiple heavily militarized police raids with special ops troops armed with machine guns and sniper rifles who are violently arresting land defenders, elders, and journalists. But many actual community members are appalled by the actions of these so-called land defenders who aren't even Canadian, let alone Wet'suwet'en community members. Respected member of the Wet'suwet'en community, Bonnie George, stated, the Wet'suwet'en nation that's been publicized in the media right now is only a small group that doesn't represent the nation. Then goes on to say that the protests and groups such as this are shameful to her people and it hurts her heart. Also shameful is the workers, many who are members of that community, are now scared to go on site thanks to recent attacks. In February, 20 camel-clad individuals cut locks to the location on Martin Forest Service Road. They carried axes, torches, and smoke bombs. 9 night shift employees were terrorized until RCMP arrived. Counties were then met with further violence and 1 was injured. Over $6 million of damage to equipment and structures. Roads were blocked with trees, wires, spiked boards, and debris on fire. Does Ruffalo condone these actions and then completely dismiss what community members like Bonnie George have been saying? It sure seems like he and his 50 signature Hollywood pals do. More Dirty Banks campaign then goes off the Coastal GasLink topic to point the finger at our oil sands, or the tar sands as they call it. They call it the most toxic oil on the planet, while completely ignoring the fact that the oil sands are essentially a giant reclamation project. They also completely ignore the fact that American energy exploration has subpar environmental standards. Has Ruffalo looked into the Bakken oil field in his own backyard? Likely not, because Canadian energy is an easy target for these environmental hypocrites. It all plays into the tar sands campaign designed to landlock Canadian energy. If you want to eliminate your biggest energy competitor, you play dirty, but people with dirty hands shouldn't point fingers. You want a greener planet? Get rid of your multiple mansions, yachts, luxury cars, and stop jet-setting all over the world on your private jets. You want to respect the inherent right of Indigenous peoples to self-determination? Then applaud their investments and ownership of energy projects that help them afford to do so. Hollywood hypocrites are so hell-bent on punishing Canadian energy that they'll use First Nations people as cannon fodder to do so. It's almost as if Ruffalo would prefer economic colonialization over true reconciliation. Hollywood has zero clue what level of environmental hoops projects like this have to jump through before they can even begin. Hollywood also has zero clue about the lives of everyday average people. Rather than demonizing Canadian energy, they should just go back to singing Imagine from their mansions and confusing Chinooks with climate change. Or as Gene Simmons said, I think celebrities should basically shut their pie holes and do what they do best. Sing, tap dance, juggle balls, and do all that kind of stuff. Killing Canadian energy, these hypocritical celebrities open the door for dictator energy with subpar human rights and environmental standards. We are the best at what we do, and Canadian energy is the best in the world. Celebrities like Ruffalo and DiCaprio should stay in their lane and quit using and abusing Indigenous peoples to push their ignorant and hypocritical environmental agendas.